happy to direct them and have them join on January 22nd. And then on the 27th, we will have an overview of A360 team that generally adheres to our architectural and engineering construction clients. So today, everyone is applicable to the subscription. So we hope that we have people joining from all areas of our technology groups. We'll also primarily be discussing benefits of subscription, but as far as Live Lab Learning, that is our area where we hold classes. You can see our classes that are available. We do virtual online training in all areas of different software. So it is virtual. It's just as if you're in the classroom. We do keep it to a small teacher to student instructional ratio so that you can feel free to ask questions as we go along, and also the instructor can actually see what's going on your desktop as you move through the lessons. We do want you to encourage, as we go through the webinar today, feel free to ask questions. I will be monitoring the question window. We will answer those as they come in, because as we go through several different areas in the subscription portal today, we want to address the questions that are applicable to the particular area that we're in. So Lisa does not mind addressing questions as they come in while she's in that area, so that we can fully illustrate to you how that particular part of the portal works based on the information you're requesting from her. Lisa, we'll turn it over to you now.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us today for this webinar. I hope everybody has found a warm place out there today. Thanks to Cherise for that glowing introduction. She always gives me much more credit than I deserve. I hope this session will be helpful to you in navigating the Subscription Center, clean up issues and questions, and enable you to understand your subscription benefits better. I will say that despite my years of experience as an Autodesk reseller, I have never considered myself an expert. I experience some of the same frustrations and technical difficulties that you do, but I also hope that you will look to us as a resource and guide so that we can work together for a more satisfactory experience within the subscription program. If you are following a lot of these procedures we discussed today correctly and are still experiencing error messages or failures, we may need to look at those separately, and we welcome you to call us with error messages and problems you're having. I will be using a combination of tutorials, screenshots, and going into the Subscription Center live. However, I am using Applied Software's own reseller contract as an example. So there are places that I cannot reveal completely for privacy reasons, but I think you will get the overall picture. Okay, before we go into the Subscription Center, I would like to provide a few tools that you might find helpful. At the very top of the screen is the link for the Autodesk Knowledge Network. That is a public site that does not require any kind of login or password. It is a database of Autodesk knowledge, and it is extremely helpful. It has a pretty good search engine. I'm in it almost every day. It has lots of tutorials, white pages, you have blogs and discussion groups. It is just that, a knowledge network. So that's a really helpful link to have and bookmark when you're working with Autodesk software. The toll-free number right below there is the Autodesk Global Helpline. I have posted that because you will not really find that posted anywhere publicly. But that is a general Autodesk helpline. It does have an option for authorization and registration. So if you are downloading software and need activation codes, license files, that nature, that is the number to call. We also freely give that out if you call us and say, I can't find that number, how do I get in touch with Autodesk? So those are just some helpful tools for you. Before we go into the Subscription Center properly, I would like to discuss the roles. There are two administrative roles in the Subscription Center, the Contract Manager and the Software Coordinator. They are similar roles with similar accesses. You can read there on the screen what those things entitle you to. The Contract Manager is going to be the main point of contact when you first set up a subscription contract. They are going to receive welcome kits and welcome emails and temporary passwords to get everything set up. They also are going to receive the renewal notices when it comes time to renew your contract, and they send those out well in advance of your expiration date. They can identify and appoint the software coordinators and other users who need access to the Subscription Center. With that being said, it is imperative that everyone is able to receive emails from Autodesk. So please whitelist the Autodesk.com domain for all your users that are going to need to access the Subscription Center. I have experienced many customers with issues because they are not receiving the automated emails that contain very pertinent information. So that is an important thing to note and an important tip. The software coordinator is similar to the contract manager. They can also assign privileges to other users. They can access a renewal report, a coverage report, which we will go over, that shows your individual license information. The contract manager and software coordinator can be the same person or two different people, however that works in your organization. And also under software coordinator, you can assign several different software coordinators. You can assign one person per license if that's what you want to do. So the software coordinator can be broken down even a bit further. The last role in the Subscription Center is simply the user. The user has to be invited by the contract manager or software coordinator. So you cannot simply just send your user, oh, here's a link to the Subscription Center. They have to be invited. And when you go in, and we'll go over that, when you go into the Subscription Center to invite users, you can assign them specific accesses. So if you just want someone to have access to download and that's all, you can designate that. So those are the three roles within the Subscription Center. So how do I get started? There is the link to the website for the Subscription Center, and this is the login page. It is simply autodesk.com/subscription center. This is what you will see when you first log on. You have two entry points: access your subscription benefits and support requests. Support request is how you log a technical support case. It takes you into a different section of the portal. For everything else, you are going to access your subscription benefits. This is the very front page of the Subscription Center, and this is where our home base will be today. And we'll be discussing most of the links on the left-hand side and go from there. So let's go ahead and get into the Subscription Center Live. This is the same page we just saw, but this is the Subscription Center Live, so now we're able to access things. So you've set up your contract manager. Your contract manager has designated users, and you need to download your software and get started. This is the main link to downloads. You can also get there here. You can also get there here. Right here above the Get Your Upgrade are questions. It's like a question and answer. All of these links are going to kick you over to the Autodesk network, knowledge network that we discussed previously. So they do use that throughout this portal. It's just going to open another window with the discussion of your topic here. So once you want to download and you go to get your upgrade, and this will take a second to load because we have a lot of software. Okay, here you will see our own software for applied software. These first few products are discontinued products. That's why it only shows versions up through 2012. As we scroll down farther, we get into more current versions, and you will see the current version plus 3 releases back. That is the rule of the subscription center. You are allowed to use, or for subscription customers rather, you are allowed to use the current version or up to 3 versions back. If you purchase a product new in the current release, say 2015, but you need access to 2013 to be compatible with other people or to work on projects, there is a way to request a previous version even if you did not own it. But again, this benefit is for subscription customers only. If you are a subscription customer and your contract lapses or you choose not to renew your subscription contract, you will not be allowed to have authorizations for previous versions. So this is where you go to download. I'm not going to click any further on this page because I do not want to start the download processes. One thing I want to bring up here, so while we're here, it's a little off subject, but a lot of people want to know how to request physical media. Download takes too long. I have a bad internet connection. It keeps crapping out on me. I want media. Autodesk no longer provides media automatically. They do require payment for it now. Here is your link to request physical media. I'm going to jump over to screenshots on a tutorial now so you can see how to do that better.
And Lisa, if I may interject while you're getting there, this is something that really is best if you request your media and pay Autodesk directly for. We as a reseller would be happy to do this. However, there are tax ramifications that would be applied to you that do not necessarily apply if you do it online through Autodesk. So in order to allow ease of request and purchase and not tie you up into any additional tax issues, it's not that we don't want to help you, it's just that this is the best way for you to request it and keep it clean.
That is correct. And the price for media is $30 per media. The smaller products such as AutoCAD and AutoCAD LT still come on DVD. The larger suites are on thumb drives now, but it is $30 per set of media. You can order as much media as you want, but you are going to be paying $30 a pop. So that part is just up to you. Here are some screenshots. Yes?
Okay. Let me go back. We do have one question concerning previous version.
Okay.
Mark has asked, is each seat in our subscription allowed to download more than one version of the software? Can one seat have access to 2015 and 2014? Mark, you are allowed to request previous use for any license that you have current on subscription. That's one of the benefits to that license. However, they can only be run on one particular station. So you can't have that 2015 on one station and the 2014 on another station being used by another user. That would be violating the license agreement. So it really is for those instances where you may have what we call legacy projects in one of those previous versions, but you're ready to move to the latest version for any projects moving forward. That's why Autodesk allows that. I hope that answers your question.
And let me just add to that also, as subscription customers and the new releases come out, Autodesk does allow a period of 120 days for you to have your current release and the new release on your computer at the same time for transfer data. That is actually a specific rule that can be found in the terms and conditions of your software. So there is a limited time you can have more than one version installed. But as Cherise said, if you have the same serial number, if it's the same license, and you've got one person using one version and one person using another version, that is going to be in violation. Okay. These are screens we just saw where you logged in and access subscription benefits. You go to get your upgrade page as we did and request media. This is going to kick you over to the Autodesk store or order media. You can choose your product because many people have several products. You can choose your quantity, fill in your addresses. One of the nice things that happens with this versus when we used to order it for our customers is you can choose your shipping option. So you can choose expedited shipping if you are willing to pay for it. We did not have that option back in the day when we could just order media from the subscription center. Again, you can choose how many of each product you want, and then you just fill in your information, put in your payment information, and verify your company and submit your order. So it's very much like ordering anything else online, but that is how you access that. Okay, so I just wanted to go over that while we were on this page with the downloads. As you will notice here, and even when you click on various versions, it is not going to show you serial numbers and product keys. That is a constant and common question. I don't know why they didn't put that on the download page. It would seem to be logical that where you have your downloads, you would also have your license information, but that is not how it is. So how do I get my subscription or serial number information short of calling my reseller? So we will go back to the main page. Oh, yeah, go back to the main page. And this is where you want to go to Contract Administration. Again, this link right here is only going to show up for contract managers and software coordinators. So unfortunately, those two people or person is going to be responsible for providing this information to their users who are downloading. The coverage report is where you find details on your specific software. I am not going to click on these two links because it will take you to our Applied Software's own personal information, but this is where you go for it. There are two links, Coverage Report, and down below here is a new feature in beta called Licensed Software Report. I have clicked on both of these links, and they do show you pretty comprehensive and easy to read charts with serial numbers, both current and previous, and product keys. So that is where you go to get your license information. I would recommend printing those out or somehow extracting that information so you then have it when you go back to your download page. So that is the downloads, and that's about all there is to it. The larger products do take a long time to download. So if you are in a remote area or have a bad connection, you might want to consider taking your computer someplace different, better. We've even had customers come set up at our office and do their downloads there because of their bad internet connections. So let's go over a couple of more things under the contract administration. Manage users is where you are going to go to invite users to both the subscription benefits and 360 benefits. We'll go over 360 a little bit more closely a little bit later. you will see this looks a little bit different. So you are flipped over into the a different section of the portal. I let you see this because hopefully some of these people are familiar to you. This is mostly our support team, and these different columns show the different things that they have access to. Dennis Howell has access to 5 products and services, and this is where I was saying you can edit or control, manage what products and what services your users have access to. You can edit at any time by clicking this link. I'm not going to click on that because I don't want to change anything in Dennis's accesses that he might come and get me up for. So this is where you're going to add users. At the top, there's a simple add button to add a new user. Once you fill in that information and continue, you will get a screen with various radio buttons that you can select for the different products and services you want them to access. Are there any questions about that?
No questions so far, Lisa.
All right. You can see here on the side there's also Manage Phone Support and Manage Software Coordinators. I'm going to click on Manage Phone Support. Hopefully I am not going to mess up anything. Okay. Manage Phone Support would have to do with if you have advanced support for some of your products. Advanced support includes phone support as well as web-based support, and there is a way to sign up users for that phone support when you have advanced. You can get here and manage software coordinators. You can also go there, get there from another link on the page where we just were. So contract managers can manage their software coordinators, add some. They can also take away that privilege if you have an employee leave the company and they were a software coordinator, you can delete them from the contract. Here are your links across the top so you can go back to your Subscription Center home page. Here's another place to access the Managed Software Coordinators. These next 2 links are what they call extended license rights that are accessed by subscription customers only. So these are only benefits for subscription customers. I'm going to go into those in some detail because they come up frequently. But I am going to go into a screenshot for that. First, let's discuss the home use license. This is for subscription customers who need to use their software at a home computer. Autodesk software is allowed to be installed on 2 different work computers without requesting any kind of permission. So if you have a desktop and you have a company-owned laptop, you are able to install it on both. And as long as you haven't had a lot of crashes or have had to do several installations, you should be able to install it twice without any kind of complications. This is for more long-term use on a computer that's not necessarily owned by the company. But if I scroll down quickly, and I'll go back, if you get down to the 6th point, I have highlighted, for standalone licenses, you can install your software on your home computer using your existing serial number. You do not need to submit a home use license application form. So in other words, this is just for network licensing. And that is because you can check out a network license. If your laptop is hooked to the company network, you can check out a license. But you are pulling it away from the pool of licenses, and once you release from the network and take that laptop somewhere else, it will only run for 30 days, and then it will just simply go away. So this is for more long-term network license use at home. Now I'm going to zip back up to the top. I don't know why they don't put that right at the very beginning, because I think that's very important information.
And Lisa, if I may interject on this. The same license compliancy applies here as well as what we discussed in previous use. This is for the same person to have access in separate locations. So
Right.
I cannot be home working on my home license and someone at the office working on my office license. That would be out of compliancy.
That is correct. Again, this is going to have to be requested by the contract manager or software coordinator because it's under the contract administration link. We saw it there, request home use. Obviously, they're going to have you agree to the terms and conditions, which you can read in great detail if you'd like. Here is where you're going to pick your type of license, standalone or network. I would imagine if you pick the standalone license and continue, it will just give you instructions to go ahead and install using your regular serial number. And then you just fill in the required fields. You will see here that you have an option to pick your release. So it's not necessarily just for the current release that you are on. Sometimes this process does take a little bit of time, and I believe this will initiate a case number. If you ever have technical support from Autodesk or talk to Autodesk and you receive an email with a case number, always hang on to that until your case is resolved. With that case number, you can appeal to us and we can help you get that case resolved if things are taking long or you're not getting satisfactory service. But it makes things so much easier if you have a case number for us to reference. Just about everything I do with Autodesk now generates an automatic case. So that is how you request a home use license for your network licenses. The next extended license use is previous version, and we touched on this before. If you already owned previous versions and have the serial numbers, you can just go ahead and install. Now, I will note that on subscription, as the new releases come out, the previous releases become marked as inactive. This is something that we can see on our reseller website, which is totally different than this. So you may have to call Autodesk to get your activation code for a previous version. Sometimes when you go through the prompts with the online registration wizard, you will get error messages that say invalid serial number. You know your serial number is right. You know you have access to it. You know your contract is active and up to date, and you still get that invalid serial number. That is simply because the online wizard does not recognize the previous version. That would just require a call to Autodesk with that global helpline and picking the menu for registration and authorization. You may have a little bit of a wait, but once you choose that, you will be able to speak to a live person and explain to them what you are trying to do. It is not completely automated.
Lisa,
So, yes.
It's probably imperative that we let them know that as your reseller, we do not have the ability to provide you this information. Authorization and registration codes all must be initiated from Autodesk directly. And that is why Lisa would direct you to that global number as opposed to letting you call us and us do that on your behalf.
Right. There is one site I want to bring up, and I can't remember if I brought this up in the previous webinar or not. There is a site called Register Once. This is a public site. Again, you do not have to log in and then with a no, I take that back. You do have to log in with a password. It should be the same password that you use for Subscription Center. You can use this site to generate your own activation codes and license files. Once you log in, it will take you to a page just to fill in your company information, subscription number, serial number, and that sort of information. However, again, sometimes when you're getting an activation code for a previous version, it will give you an error message that says bad serial number. So again, that's going to require a call to Autodesk. But this is a helpful site. Even with license files, you plug in your information as your serial number, your MAC address, your server name, and it instantly generates a license file. I have several customers who use this site successfully. Every once in a while it has a glitch, like all websites do. But this Register Once website is a great place to be a little bit self-sufficient. So I just wanted to do that as an aside and show that to you. Okay, so we're going back to previous version. And if you have your serial number already, you can just proceed. And if you have trouble, you can call the Autodesk registration line. If you do not have a previous version that you want to use, as I stated, if you buy a current version of AutoCAD 2015, you are allowed to use up to 3 versions back, even though you didn't own them. This is where you would request a previous version to your serial number, and at some point it will give you a screen that I didn't get that far. At some point it will give you a screen that says, I have my serial number, I don't have my serial number. If you click the option that says, I don't have my serial number, it will generate one for you. As your reseller, I can also request a previous version through our reseller website. And if you have trouble, I will be glad to do that. Once you have that previous serial number generated, then you just go through your regular installation process. But that is how you generally get your previous versions. Autodesk does allow for customers who owned versions more than 3 versions back to run them. It is more an exception than a rule, but you had to have owned the software. I have some customers who are needing to run 2009 versions of software for legacy data, as Charisse was mentioning, legacy files that they still have to access. And if you owned the software, Autodesk will grant a activation code. It's good for a year, but then you have to reactivate it every year thereafter. Again, this is only if you owned that version of the software. So those are considered the extra license usage benefits given to subscription customers. Set reseller views is simply an option to where you can allow us as your reseller to view support issues and responses when you do tech support. That just keeps us informed if you want to, so we can assist. We do have our own support team at Applied Software. I'm sure many of you have spoken to them. They're a really great group of people with a lot of knowledge. But that is simply where you give permission because of privacy rights for resellers to have access or view your support requests and responses. I'm going to go into Autodesk 360 briefly. I don't want to go into great detail here, but this is where you also access your benefits and give users rights to these benefits as well. When you click on the Autodesk 360 links, it's going to take you to another new window that looks a little different than before. Right here are the programs that you will have access to based on your software, because not all software is going to have all of these benefits. We have many of them listed because we have so much software. But this is where you see what you're allowed to access. This screen is going to come up only if you have given your users access to Autodesk 360 services. That goes back to the page where we were previously under contract administration and manage users. Once you give them access to those certain products and services, they are going to be able to get to that page right here. And this is where they do a lot of the services where you upload your documents and pretty much use these services. I don't do a lot of uploading to the cloud or work in these simply because I'm not on technical. I'm just on the sales side, so I am not going to go into great detail on that. But there is information available from us and on the Autodesk Knowledge Network. One more word about Autodesk 360 in terms of cloud credits. Autodesk has recently changed their policy. It used to be that you get a renewed 100 cloud credits with each renewal of your contract. That is no longer the case. Companies are allowed 100 shared credits when they first set up a new contract. When those cloud credits have expired, you are able to purchase more, and they cost $100 per 100 cloud credits. There is a way to access that, to purchase cloud credits, and I can show you how to do that. We are having companies who are running out of credits now and having to purchase new ones. If we go back to the Autodesk Knowledge Network, let's see, got too many windows open here. And simply search on cloud credits is going to be the first article that comes up, if I can type. How to purchase cloud credits. This takes you step by step with screenshots on how to purchase your cloud credits. See, this is back to that screen where we were previously. And again, this is only by contract manager. And you just go through the steps, and it is instantaneous. Once you fill in your information and your payment information, your cloud credits are instantly refreshed. It will also, as you go through this, it will show you what your usage report is. And there are other ways to access that usage report as well. Let me get there. I got here by going to Contract Administration and Manage Users. This is your user page, but as you see here, this is your reporting. This is also how you see reports on cloud credits used and cloud credits available by contract if you have multiple contracts, which we do. Are there any questions about that?
No questions in the window thus far.
Okay. That is about the extent of the different usages of the Subscription Center, how you access them, the contract administrative roles and tasks. Subscription Help is going to take you to another page with links that's, again, going to kick you over to the Autodesk Knowledge Network, but these are a lot of good links to reference. Previous version FAQ, home use FAQ, subscription software download. So there's just a lot of good information here, and also on the Autodesk Knowledge Network. But that is about the extent of my walk through the Subscription Center. I'd like to give you a few minutes if you have other questions about this site, about using subscription, registering, all that kind of information. So are there any other questions that come to mind as we've looked at these various benefits and tasks?
We do have a few questions come in.
Okay.
Rusty would like to know, do people purchase credits or does a contract purchase and distribute to users? So I
Contract manager purchases, and they are shared cloud credits. So once the contract manager purchases them and they are available, any user who has access, who has been given access to cloud, can use them.
Okay. So once it's purchased, they're actually free reign for anyone in the company that has access to use the cloud credits in the company.
That is correct. There used to be individual cloud credits, but Autodesk also did away with that, so they are always shared. So you're going to see it attached to your contract, not necessarily to individual users. Okay,
perfect. Another question, you know, we reviewed home license use, and we used we spoke about the fact that you could have a work license on your desktop at work and then on your laptop at work.
Mm-hmm.
So can I have my laptop that I take in the field and still have a license on my desktop home computer and be within compliancy?
Yes. Yes, you can. Now, typically, you're talking about 3 installations there.
Right, correct.
So what Autodesk allows for 2 installations, 2 different locations as long as the same person is using it. So if you have a laptop that you carry, you're going to want to either pick your desktop at work or your desktop at home to be your primary home base. Because once you start installing that serial number more than 2 times, you're going to start seeing error messages pop up that say you have exceeded your activations on the serial number, and that is going to ping license compliancy department. If this happens too often or frequently, you may get a call, you may get a letter saying we need to know what's going on. Now, this happens frequently because people have crashes and installation errors and computer problems, and sometimes you have customers trying to install software 4, 5, 6 times. That simply requires some communication with Autodesk. There's a license compliancy department, or if they initiate communication with you, if you have logical reasons for these multiple installations, they are understanding of that. So I always encourage my customers who face that situation and start getting their serial numbers locked down to call the global helpline, pick the registration menu, and communicate with Autodesk on what scenario they are facing that's causing these multiple installations.
Great. Okay. One other question, and it's a very good question. Rusty followed up with the question of, if a company were to purchase 10,000 cloud credits, do they have a way to restrict or distribute those to the users? So they may not want one particular user to be able to eat up a majority of these cloud credits.
That is a very good question, and that is one I'm going to have to research. If we could get Rusty's contact information, I will make a point of finding that out. I don't know of a way personally at this point to lock that down that tightly, but there may be a way. Again, I have not. We use a whole separate database and website, so I have not completely experienced every scenario in the subscription center. So I'll be glad to research that.
Fair enough. Rusty, if you will allow us, I'm certain that we have your contact information since you registered for the seminar and webinar, so we will follow up with an answer to you on that, okay? Okay, I think that, we don't have any more questions in the window, so I'll continue to watch it, but with that being said, we will definitely be respectful of the time you have spent with us today, and I want to let you know that we thank you for spending the time with us. We hope you found this helpful. We do feel like that subscription is often the portal is often an underutilized resource for many of our users, and we just want you to be able to maximize all of the benefits that Autodesk continues to put in subscription as we move forward. Another thing that you may or may not be aware of is we will just speak to quickly a very important date that is coming up, and that is February 1. Autodesk will no longer have an upgrade path available to licenses. So if your licenses are current and on subscription, you may consider yourself whole, perfect, and complete. If you in fact have licenses that are not current on subscription, but in production, you may want to truly consider getting them on subscription, because as of February 1, you will not be able to move those to the latest release. If you need to move an older license to the latest release after February 1 and they are not on subscription, it will require a purchase of a brand new license. This is a significant change, so we want to make sure everyone that has Autodesk software, our clients or anyone else's clients, are fully educated on this policy. Another thing that we would like to share with you is that as we move towards this change in policy, Autodesk has also provided a new way of licensing their software. It is called desktop subscription. Now you may say, what is the difference? What we have reviewed today are the benefits of maintenance subscription. So maintenance subscription is tied to what we call a perpetual license. That is a license that you actually own and you maintain through this type of subscription, maintenance. Desktop subscription, on the other hand, is in the event that you needed a license for a particular time frame. So I have a large project, I'm bringing on a temporary contract worker for a year. Desktop subscription would be the perfect caveat for you to provide that employee or that contract worker a license to any particular software that you need for the project for that given time frame. So desktop subscription is the ability to license Autodesk software for a specified period of time, and then at the end of that time you may renew, or if you no longer need it, you let it lapse. So just a different model that we want to make you aware of as well. With that being said, we do want to let you know that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can find our recorded webcast. So if you've registered for one in the past and were unable to attend, feel free, you can find them there. And you'll also find this one if you want to share with some of your other colleagues. Thank you again for your time, and we hope you found it helpful.